Hello again. Today we have a vintage Piko model to have a look at. It's a BR86 tank engine in a 282 configuration. This box is looking very tired. It's got a lot of scratches on it and it's had a bit of a hard life. Also, it doesn't have any English on this box, so it has a little bit of a history there, but it's not in English, so we can't really find out from the box. I'm hoping the model is going to be okay inside, so let's get this open and we'll take a look. So we do have an instruction sheet with this locomotive and it's in various languages. We do have an English version over here and it does talk about just lubricating this model, so it's not actually telling you any history about the locomotive. Interestingly, on the back it has this here which is VEB plastic art. So you can see that this model, even though it's badged as Piko, was actually a VEB model in the past and it came from the DDR originally. And here is the model. It's quite an interesting tank engine, but you can see that we have a bit of a problem here. This part here is broken off at this little part there, which should attach onto here. And it's probably safe to say that that's near on impossible to fix. That's one of the real Achilles heel on locomotives, because once this part breaks, it's near on impossible to either repair it or even replace it as well. Spare parts for these are almost impossible to get. It's a shame. I think that's been bashed in transit to me because it came through Royal Mail, so these things are to be expected sometimes. But let's have a look at the rest of the model. It's a very typical Piko model from this era in that it's mostly made of plastic, but there is a lot of detail on it. At the front we don't have working headlights, but they are picked out with this white paint here. There's some nice details here, lots of things have been picked out in the main moulding. All this pipework here has been moulded into the main piece of plastic. This part here is quite nicely detailed though. I think that's a condenser. I might be wrong, correct me in the comments if I am. And you can see that the buffers are these wobbly ones. I actually quite like this idea because these are always getting broken off on models, and these ones have so much flexibility in it that it's unlikely to ever break. So we've got lots of stuff to enjoy at the top here, and you can see on this dome here that we have a little screw there to take the body off. Mixed feelings about having this here. It does actually make it very easy to take the model apart, but it does kind of spoil the looks at the top. And we have a moulding mark the whole length of the boiler as well, which is very pronounced. I don't like that either. But on top of the cab, it's not too bad, although we do have some moulding issues as well. So it's probably not the sharpest of plastic moulding, but there's certainly a lot of detail in here. At the cab as well, the printing is very good. You can really see the number there, and it says Deutsche Reichsbahn as well, and there's some more numbers down here as well. There's no glazing at all, and there's also no cab interior detail because you can see the typical motor inside there. And there's also some problems here. We've got some red overspill onto this ladder here, so the painting isn't as crisp as it could be. But I do like the fact that they've picked out this part here in red, and you can see some of the detail, including this pipework here, is very well picked out and very nicely defined. The valve gear is all plastic, and that's obviously the reason this is broken so easily. And the wheels have got plastic inserts with metal surrounds. It looks as though we're getting pickup from two front sets of wheels, and I would hazard a guess that the rear ones are the driven ones, with traction tyres fitted on the back ones here. And we also have two pony trucks in plastic, which have quite a degree of movement up and down and side to side. Fitted with these couplings hanging out the back as well. And there's one at the front, which I think kind of spoils the look of steam locomotives. I might think about taking that one off. And it's the same story on the other side, although the painting at this point is actually a little bit better than the other. At the bunker area, we've got not a great rendition of coal up there, but we do have some nice detail down here, including details on the buffer beam, which looks really good with the rivets and other bits and pieces. And we also have the flexible buffers as well. So overall, it seems to be quite a fragile model. Also noticed that we have one of the little markers at the front here is broken off on this side. It's very fine moulding, so it's to be expected. So you've got to be careful handling these models, and I think as they get older, the plastic's probably going to get more brittle, and you'll see more things breaking off as well. But it certainly shows the ambition of the company when they put so much detail into the moulding. I just pulled this part out here, and it would look as though it attaches onto here. I'm going to give this a little bit of glue and just see if it'll work. I'm just going to use Humbrol poly cement to see if that'll fix that piece there. So I think that fix might have actually worked there. It seems to be not too bad. So let's give this a try on a test track and we'll see if it runs. Gosh, it actually works, but wow, what a noise. I think this probably needs some oil. So let's get it apart, give it some oil, and then we'll give it a proper run. So it looks as though we have gears on the back three axles. The front axle seems to just be free rolling. The pickups happen here, not very good, but they seem to be working okay. So I'm hoping just some oil will sort that out. So a little bit of oil has freed up the motor and it seems to be running fine now. However, we've still got the problem with this part here. The glue didn't work at all and it just snapped off as soon as I gave it a shot. So it's obviously an Achilles heel of this model, but to fix it, I've actually got another one identical, which also has similar problems with the valve gear. This time it's on the other side of the locomotive where it's broken off, so this is obviously a weak point on these models. But hopefully I'll be able to get this one off here without breaking it and replace it onto this one, so at least we've got one working model, and this one might have to wait for some more spares. So moderate success today. We've managed to get this one at the front here working fine, whereas the one on the back has just got multiple problems with its valve gear, and also the pistons have snapped off the main chassis at some point. So it looks like the one at the back is going to get consigned to the spares box and just be a donor for other models, whereas the one at the front, it runs again, although it's actually not really that good. So I guess what we've learned here is that Piko models of this era, when they put in the plastic valve gear, it just didn't work. It's just not strong enough, and it's causing all manner of problems as the model gets older. There's something to be aware of if you're thinking about buying one of these models. Look out for ones that have got metal valve gear. These plastic ones are just going to be nothing but trouble, and they may break and end up with a model that just doesn't run or has got missing valve gear parts. I think it's a bit of a shame because normally Piko models are really good, and certainly the motor and the gearbox and the wheels, they actually run really well. The pickups seem to be pretty good as well. It's just being let down by, I think, what was probably a cost-cutting exercise. So if you're thinking about buying this model, it is a very good looking one, but there are some problems that you need to be aware of, and it may be a bit more of a headache than you expected. So I'll put the working one on the turntable so you can see all the way around, and I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, it really helps this channel. And if you subscribe, you'll get the latest Model Railway news and more reviews as well on this channel. But that's it for this video, thanks for watching, see ya!